Today we're talking to one of the guys who's been a close friend to me, he's been a brother to me, and a lot of us know him for his first book, which he co-authored with Uspesihle Khanyile, whom we had in one of our Jumpstart episodes. They call him Dr. K, and I think he's going to explain to us why they call him that.
They used to.
Oh, they used to. Welcome to Jumpstart, Dr. K.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
And we really appreciate your time for being here. And I think it's better we start with the whole Dr. K thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
How did it come about?
Well.
What happened to it now? Because now you said to me they used to call you Dr. K.
Okay. The episode of Dr. K. No man, Dr. K was or is the caring part of me, which I've tried to run away from, but then it seems to be the undying spirit of Dr. K, because it's more of me having realized that I care so much, and then just started to nickname myself that. But they didn't start there. What happened is, at primary I was 18, and then the name then was Dr. Khelobedu.
Oh, okay.
So then I translated the name to English, then Khelobedu into care, and then it became Dr. K. But it was just more of me being a caring soul, and then starting to adopt little sisters, little brothers, and and then it grew to that. But then it became unsustainable.
What do you mean it became unsustainable?
No, it's more of I think it's more of it reached a level where you could not balance between when can you care for people and be cared for.
Oh yeah.
And then it's demand and supply, where you find that I supplied more than
you
I demanded.
Exactly. No, that's true. A lot of people experience that, especially when they are always encouraging others. People tend to think that because you're encouraging others, you're always there for others. You never need someone to be there for you.
Yeah.
But today is not really about the Dr. K.
Of course.
I called you here because you are an author, but you also do other things. You also like corporate events, MC. You work as a project coordinator. So, but those are not very important at this point. We have this book. It's called Lekekesha. Tell us about it.
This is one of the most beautiful piece of of my language and my culture. So the Lekekesha, in simple terms, it means a breaker. Especially if you can see the image of the guy in front, breaking stones and breaking rock. So it's a book that I've always had it in me to write. And especially that.
By always, what do you mean?
Especially from the time when we wrote our first book, which is basically that you have written a book, but then you've got your home people whom cannot really relate very well to, and not to say they're not educated enough not to read, but your senior citizen, my mom, your grannies, and everyone who could not relate because there is a language barrier. And that's when I said, okay, maybe it's about time I bring something closer to them that groomed us to who we are now. And then that's when I said, and by the way, our language has been undermined for so long, so maybe.
When you say our language, what language are you talking about?
Khelobedu. My language is Khelobedu. And that being said, and I said, let me try it. But it was tricky because Khelobedu is not standard. The language that is known is Spei.
Okay.
And we do Spei in school as our official language, as our mother tongue, which is not really our mother tongue.
Even you told me about that. It was even made official very recently. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so what happened is we started with Northern Lesotho, and then we came to have Spei. Spei being the bigger population in the Limpopo side or the northern side. And then the books then had to be that everyone from the Bedis, the Dogwas, the Fulanis, the Lobedus then have to speak Spei as the official language, which doesn't really say their language is Spei. But they say, well, we're going to take Spei and the rest will just be dialect. But the problem becomes that all of these languages have got cliques that are not really related to Spei. They're just different. So that's when then we realized that, okay, this cannot work. But then from Bedi now, it's better because I think it was last year, it was changed back to Northern Lesotho.
Is it?
Yeah, from Northern
So it's no longer called Spei?
No, not anymore. It's the official language is
Sure.
it's Northern Lesotho.
Wow, okay.
So that's when then I said, okay, it's about time we as the Khelobedu start writing our own thing, because it's not really about the language, but it's about things that the language comes with. The stuff we used to play with, the games, the medicines. There are so many medicines, by the way, in Khelobedu that people might not know, and we cannot be translating.
Have you written about some of those
which
things?
is what is coming the next week. I'm gonna
Okay.
and things about our reign queen, things like which is things that we should preserve, because we have got so much beautiful history or beautiful heritage that needs to be preserved, and if we're not, then it's just gonna get lost while all of us are trying to adapt to other cultures because we don't have an identity in this society that doesn't recognize us as an official language. So it's better now that our queen has been recognized as a queen, as a good queenship in the culture. So it's better now because we're getting there.
So you wrote Lekekesha, which is a Khelobedu book.
Yes.
And I'm imagining that since Khelobedu is not really an official language, there's not much written on using that language, and even in terms of access. How much is there? Because I saw that at some point you were also, meeting with some of the people who've also written in the same language.
So, yeah, it was hard, because I remember, I think I once shared with you when I was saying I'm actually scared to publish because I'm a creative writer and not a linguist or an academical person who knows how words should be, and it was tricky, but then it was a brave move to say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I just want to tell a story, and this story I want to tell it in my own language, because all of us seem to know what we speak, but we seem not to know how to write what we speak. So we're going to extract what we speak and just mostly use what we've been taught at school, the 80 vowels and everything, and just put it on, and then if people can read it, then that's good. But then knowing that it's going to expose as well the work to those who are academically blessed, that they therefore start taking this fella. It's more of stirring this desire to say, why don't we have our language standardized? And thank God it actually happened that now I started meeting people who have done research into the language, and now have some of them are linguists and how it should be written and stuff, which is good, because I'm going to continue. Then when it's more approved, then they can be translated, and we're all going to have a standard language. So it was tricky, but then we have seen good results, because now we've got people who have invested so much, done research into the language, how it can be written, now starting to come out and say, this is the work we've done, and saying, okay, I've written creatively so, but I'm not saying it's the right way, so I can actually adopt your system, and then we can now start getting there, which I think the biggest part now is not about us fighting, no, you didn't write it right, it's about us saying, let's get there. You come with this creative right, come with this, let's all get it, which has been a beautiful movement so far, meeting on, and then meeting as well the likes of Matolo Mseka, who has been the forefront runner, saying, guys, there's no standard way of writing, just write.
Just right.
It's been quite a great journey, and it's going there. And the book itself, it's more of saying, listen, we have been covered by a barrier, which is more like a rock, as Khelobedu people, where our language cannot get out there, cannot be recognized. So let's start breaking that barrier.
So let's start kekeshing the barrier.
So that's why the kekeshing movement comes in. So and the subtopic says, simply meaning whatever makes.
Please repeat that.
So this simply translates to saying, whatever makes a breaking sound. For example, if you hit a table and say no, so this is it's eventually breaking, even if you, as the one who's applying the force, is not aware. So we are saying we've got a big barrier, but we're gonna keep on knocking that barrier
bit by bit.
Exactly, and eventually it's gonna crack. Even if we are not aware, because this might crack 13 generations to come, but eventually this rock would have been known. So that's.
I think what you're saying now is very interesting, and it speaks to the importance of writing in terms of us preserving our heritage. You spoke about how in this book you speak about the games. They cannot be translated into English or any other language, because they are Khelobedu games, they are Khelobedu people's games, right? Even the words that cannot be translated into other language, and if it's written down, a child 3 generations from now will be reading this and have something as a point of reference. But now I want to ask you, you've been promoting the book. What has been your experience? How is it received?
It's been amazing. I mean, currently I'm being under pressure due to my readers who are saying, we want to know what happens after.
Yeah.
Because the book is a series which has been releasing, once every year. Where it's a novel of this guy who comes from Northwest.
Okay.
After he has lost his parents and then being called by his grandmother back home to Khelobedu. So this guy will be traveling around Khelobedu, discovering things that Khelobedu people do. So after people have realized how this guy has traveled from Northwest to Khelobedu, and the journey has been so much interesting and so much full of lessons, they now want to know what will happen actually. So now that's the exciting part, because I remember when I was doing some reviews after people have read the book, people were saying, we want to know about the story, we want to know about what happened between this guy and that lady, we want to know about this and those dreams he had. So that has been an exciting part of it, because you're reaching to a market of people who always wanted to read their language, but they've not had a chance before. And amazingly enough, when I thought they were going to say, no, this is not the right way, they're saying, it's fine, it's all right, we can relate, we can read. And the beautiful part of it, as I was saying, is having to reach to a market of non-readers. People don't regularly read books. People will probably never finish books unless when they were at school, coming to say, I just read your book and I finished because I could not put it down, because the story was so much interesting. So that has been the beautiful part of this book, because we've got people saying, I remember, I actually played like that, I actually did that. So it gets people interacting and starting to say, oh yeah, because one day you're going to have the 13th generation to come saying, well, they were just bored. That never really happened. But when they're going to see like all of these coming together, it's going to say, oh wow, people used to have fun besides just sticking on their phone and playing and all of those things.
So that's very interesting, and I think in my head I do feel bad, because I myself am an author, but I do not write in my own language. I'm very good and very proficient in Zulu, but I do not write in my own language. Or even if I do have some poetry written in Zulu, but I have not really taken them that serious that, okay, I should actually publish this. But I think what you have done, you are showing a whole lot of us who have this love for writing, that actually it is important to also write our own languages, because in that way, that is how languages thrive. The reason why English has become, what it is today is because people used it, people wrote it, people developed it, people improved it. If there's no one writing in Khelobedu, then it's not going to improve, and over time it's going to get extinct.
Exactly what you just said. Exactly.
So now, have you written the next part of the story?
I'm busy with it. Yeah, it actually excites me. I'm going to be introducing some level of witchcraft in the next book.
Witchcraft?
Yeah, it's stuff, it's stories that our grandmothers have been telling us of what happened, but then as a fictional book, I'm going to be putting in a way that actually you guys need to question yourself on how you view witchcraft.
Yeah.
Because I remember in this book, I have installed stories about gender, where this lady actually had a point where a guy was dating a lady, or a guy whom he thought was a lady, only to find out the lady or the guy, the transgender, and now came to look as a lady, and all of those things. And now it's getting interesting, because that question of mine to say, we're from the rural areas, but start questioning yourself to say, what is gender? Are you as you see yourself? So it's more bringing these debate into people. And so I'm going to be bringing the part of witchcraft, not really witchcraft, but some natural magic to say let's have an interaction around these things. Let's review them. I mean, even we cannot be seen from the Western eyes to saying, well, if you're doing this, it's witchcraft. Because then, if you're saying rain making powers of witchcraft, then you're saying I'm from a witchcraft land. So I'm saying let's have a view of this in a very profound way, because now we're gonna all be westernized and say, well, if it's not science, then it's witchcraft, which there can be another view of it.
I think that's also very interesting. It's like so many things are interesting here, because what comes to my head as we are having this conversation, and now you're even bringing how the West would look at the rain making powers as if it's like now witchcraft, and there's something wrong with it, when it's actually a gift that is given to a particular clan. And now this makes me think about how, when we do not tell our stories, when somebody else from outside tells the story, they tell the story in their own perspective. And then this brings me back to the debate that has been happening in the higher education, in the universities, and even beyond, even on TV, this debate about decolonization. And I think one of the best ways to do so is for us to write our own stories, because the tradition, with the African tradition of storytelling, has always been, oral tradition, and oral tradition was never written, that is why some of the languages are not even codified, like you guys are trying to do now with Khelobedu. And I'm sure there are also other languages. Sotokwa, I know, is one of them, Spulana. I have a friend who speaks Spulana, but at school he did Sepedi.
We all.
So you see, and I think it's a very important contribution that you guys are making to this whole decolonization debate, because language is was an instrument of colonization, and it's an instrument of continuing to colonize. If you look at kids today,
I mean, if you check it in the language we're using now, it shows how much the power of colonization was. So
it's tough. It's bad.
Exactly. So it needs to be reviewed, because one of the things is you will realize that a lot of things we have been seeing them in a way that we have been told to see them, not the way they were supposed to be seen. I mean, you will be amazed that as much as we are a Zulu, there were generations ago where King Shaka interacted with my queen back then.
Is it?
And yeah, and they had such a relationship that it's even recorded in the history that they would make a treaty that, listen, no one should fight against the queen, and it's because the queen will therefore bless me with the rain and stuff like that. But then there comes the colonization, the whole apartheid regime that will say, okay, we're going to put the Zulus there. And then we start having tribal wars between us. What actually our people back then, they used to have trees. They used to have what we see in Game of Thrones now, that people would have relationships and things like that. But now we're starting to find, well, actually, our people back then used to late so well. That
so these things are not really new to us.
Exactly. We used to late very well back before all of these issues could come.
But then the challenge now that I'm seeing is that even the generation of young kids that grow up today, obviously we're not that old, but back then we still spoke our mother tongue with our parents. But our kids and the kids that are growing up now, they are more likely to speak English with their parents than they are to speak isiZulu or to speak isiTsonga or Khelobedu, their mother tongue. What do you think is the danger of that in terms of the language and the preservation of our heritage as Africans?
The thing is, it's not just only an issue of language, because language on itself comes with information, it comes with wisdom, it comes with a lot of resources that establishes people on who they are. It comes a lot with identity. Because we're going to come to a point where now, as I'm speaking English, I'm going to now start neglecting my own identity as a Khelobedu because I relate better with the English side. Where now I'm gonna now start neglecting even the practices that as a Khelobedu I was supposed to do. I mean, you check our Ubuntu and all of those things, and I'm gonna start adopting a lifestyle that I was sure that I was not brought in such a way that, for example, I was brought in such a way that, listen, when you meet someone in the streets, you have to greet them, you have to respect them, regardless of whether you know them or not. You get it? So those are how we were groomed, and what kind of words to use to elders, what kind of words to use to these kind of people. So now when I'm adopting like the English language, it doesn't have such things.
Yeah.
And now it's gonna start being like, oh, whatever, and such things like respect, such things like which I install within the identity of human being, then they're gonna get lost as a Khelobedu because I was not taught during this colonization of me using another language instead of what I was supposed to be using as a Khelobedu. So that's where the danger comes in. And if we're not careful, then we're gonna have simply the language deteriorating, and if the language then deteriorates, then we've got the moral code as well going down with it, and then the identity going down with it, and then the practice is going down with it, and then we're gonna now be left as English people because at home we wanna speak English, eat English food, we're gonna do this and that and whatnot, and we're not gonna even eat food that was supposed to be so indigenous to us. So we're gonna Google to say what is the food supposed to be eaten by a Zulu, like like how to cook it. So that's what comes with us not really being.
It might even be difficult because it might not even be there on Google itself. Because I think even the language, it's hard to get African languages. I at some point was looking for some Zulu books or some Zulu stuff on Google. I couldn't find it even on Google Books or even on Google Scholar. I couldn't really find much that I could use for whatever I was writing at the time. So I think it is very much important that we who have been blessed with this passion for writing contribute to the preservation of our languages, the preservation of our culture, the preservation of our heritage, because this is our heritage. This is part of who we are, as you were saying. And if we adopt, and it's hard to say we won't adopt, what has been there, because it's like language of communication. If it was not for English, the Khelobedu and the Zulu would not be able to sit down and talk. But I think it is also important that we use these kinds of things in our own advantage. That as much as we speak English, as much as we become global citizens, we also do not lose the part that speaks to our identity. We also use these tools and this technology that we have to make sure that we preserve and keep our heritage, with us wherever we go.
Because I think one of the things that I've realized is that in the olden days, what they used to do is they would actually infiltrate each other's spaces and get to learn how they behave. And in doing so, then they had even to learn the language so that they can communicate with each other. Which therefore, with us having English as we're now starting to have barriers.
Sure.
That listen, you remain in your corner, you remain in your corner, but we're gonna meet at a common space where we're gonna speak this thing. And then at that position, it's easy to fight because when we drop English, we now become strangers.
Yeah, sure.
But the older people never stop there. They will actually come to a point where I'm gonna learn Zulu, and knowing that when I learn Zulu, I'm not only gonna learn the language, but I'm gonna learn what people as Zulus practices. And in doing so, then Zulu people no longer remain strangers to me.
Sure.
So I'll now even start knowing that how do they relate, what do they do, and all of those things. Then it becomes easy for us to interact. Which therefore that will kill issues that we face now of tribalism. Because we would have known that, listen, it doesn't matter whether you are Zulu or Khelobedu or Pedi or Venda, it doesn't matter because we can interact. But now we have said, listen, we're going to remain on our ground with our languages and we're going to all meet in a space with English. Which was not supposed to be like that.
It's sad because the other thing I'm saying with us, our generation, is that we are not also proficient in English to pass as English speakers.
Yeah.
But also not proficient in Zulu either to
Our
pass
mother
as Zulu
tongue.
speakers, which is our mother
Yeah.
our mother tongue. And we find ourselves now in between. We are not very good in Zulu, we're also not very good in English. We are just somewhere in between, which is sometimes a form of confusion in itself.
I mean, part of the confusion that I realized being in Khelobedu was when I was here at first. People will ask me, so who are you?
Yo.
And then I'll say, I'm Khelobedu. And they'll say, what's Khelobedu? I say, no, it's me, like a person who comes from a judge. They say, what language do you speak? And I said, Khelobedu. Okay. And then they come to say, but then Khelobedu is not part of the official language. Yeah. And then they'll come to say, okay, so what did you do at school? And I'll say, Bedi. And that's when people related with me as a Bedi.
As a Bedi person.
But I was not Bedi. And immediately when you do that, then you're starting to try to install confusion within me, because you're saying I'm Bedi, but I'm not Bedi. So you're trying to classify me as a Bedi. So now I have to identify myself as a Bedi for your understanding due to these yes.
Yeah, and sometimes you find that those kinds of things impose certain expectations on you, which as a Khelobedu person you would not really be able to live up to, because that is not part of your culture, that is not part of who you are. Then you're expected to behave and conduct yourself as a Bedi. If you do not do something that is Bedi in terms of culture, then you're expected, you are seen as if there's something wrong with you.
Exactly. And Bedi is such a beautiful language, but then I think one thing it should be noted is that Bedi is just one of the languages in the north, and Khelobedu is one of them. So to classify me as a Bedi is to say, well, we don't want to recognize Khelobedu, which being who I am.
So I hear you talking about this information that people do not have access to, and what I'm wondering is that how do you get access to that information in that you use for the books that you're writing? I heard you said you're also working on the next part of this book.
So I think one of the best part, which I think I can say I achieved my goals for the first book, was that I wanted to stir up people who have got the same passion. And when I released the first book, that's when I started having people who had been doing this work. I mean, I've met one of the guys here at Vex who just deals in collecting information about Khelobedu. And when I met him, then that's when he started sharing all of this information, what used to happen. I remember one of the information he said was a lady who visited Khelobedu in 1936, and she started attending the rituals in our area. So stuff like that. So it's people like them, and also interacting with the elders. Because when I released this and I went to the royal house, they
started. You also been to the royal house,
and they accepted it very well. Like I remember the guy that I've seen there, who made me sign and like the book for the prince. He even started sharing information automatically, just saying, listen, this is what happened. How when we started, we didn't have surnames. The surnames came because the wife said you need to have this. All of those things that, listen, we want people just that they were given surnames. So it's all of those things that now when I'm interacting with the elders, they're starting to say, here's more, write it down. And the names of the mountains, all of these, the rivers. So you get to learn more from them. But then I think the other guys who's currently just published a dictionary. He has well interacted with the elders. And when he has done so, his kind of material helps us, creative writers, to gain access to. So it's more of different players coming together and saying, let's share this information. And I'm glad that it's all of us who are saying we're not having the mentality of saying this is my own info. We just say we want to share, we want to interact.
That is how the language will grow. Exactly. That is how the language will develop and improve.
So that's where I get from the elders, from the researchers, from the guys who are busy doing the dictionary, who have done a great job, that requires a quite massive research into this work. So it's been great. So it's good for us creative writers. And yeah, part of it is fictional, trying to bring the old and the new together.
Sure,
and
sure.
Yeah, so it's been a great thing.
No, that's great work, man. You're really doing a good job. I really respect you for the bravery that you had to
With you guys
Continue.
encouraging as well.
to continue with the project. No, honestly, we have to encourage such work. We really appreciate it, and I think Nami, I'm also inspired that at some point I will start writing in my own language. And so, how do people get the book?
People can get the book by just contacting me on my social media. It's Eliya Monyela on Facebook, Lekendro in brackets, and then Instagram. There is the Kekesha page as well. Facebook, the Kekesha page as well. Or just contact me. And my numbers is 082 519 9114. It's public number, so I'm used to everyone calling me.
No, that's
Yeah.
good. So when can they expect the next?
Yeah, the next book, Lekekesha, it's gonna come out in December.
This December.
This December.
Is it?
Yeah, so I'm working out on it. Yeah.
Wow, man.
It's actually, it fascinates me.
Mm.
Yeah, so cause I write, like even with this one, I'll just sit down and start reading, cause it's stuff that we relate to, stuff that we have seen happening. And some part it's more fiction, which I'm like, let's wow you a bit with how you could have looked at things, and
Sure.
we actually were channeled to it. So yeah, by December I'll be releasing it, and people can expect it, and yeah, it should.
Oh, that's very good, man.
be.
So we have come to the end of this episode. But what I would like you to give to our viewers, what would you say to somebody who's sitting at home? They have this passion for writing in their own language. They love reading. They have this vision of contributing to preserving their heritage through storytelling, but they have this fear.
I think one of the best words I've had during this process of writing this book was that when Matula Mseka came with the Khelobedu Student Society here at first, and he came and said, listen, English is one of the most fanagalos language in the world, because we have English in USA, English in South Africa,
So the UK.
you as well, just write.
Mm.
It might not be the same, but just write, and checking the movement that is going on in USA with the whole Nike agenda and everything, where they just say, just do it.
Sure.
Exactly. So to everyone who wanna write, who wanna just do it. It doesn't matter how you write it and everything, but just do it. Because when the language is very well standardized, all of these manuscripts gonna be translated, and they're gonna be put in the right language and the right time. But then just push the patient, just push it on and just take it out, because we don't want people dying with all of this talent and going to the grave and say, well, I was scared, well, I just write. And if people want to criticize, it's fine. You will have done your part and you have contributed enough, and then the next generation will judge that, surely.
Sure.
And I think just in conclusion, one of the things we said was, normally when we go to funeral, you'll find that our obituaries are written in Pedi or another language. But we'll always say, probably when we die, our own obituaries will be written in Khelobedu.
Yeah.
So that's what we want. That
Sure.
People will not be struggling like, they will know the language they are reading and everything, and then they will be reading about Khelobedu in a Khelobedu language. So just write and contribute to this language.
No, thank you very much. I really appreciate the time that you have given us. Thank you, guys. I hope you're very much inspired by the work that Eliya is doing. And if you're sitting at home and you want to write, as he said, just do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Until next time, yield to the push of passion. Let's keep kekeshing as well. Definitely, let's keep kekeshing.
Yeah.
Sure.